So that old STD has returned. Couldn't help it. Yes, Star Trek Discovery Season 2 episode Brother brings this series back for another round. You probably didn't see it. I'm one of the few who did. Oh, well, maybe we'll find out. Well, no, we're not going to find out any numbers. But anyway, well, it was better than the first episode of the first season. But basically, it's just a bunch of flashy lights and the great special effects that they have for this series, and dragged out because they didn't have enough story. And this tells me again, very much like the first season, that that's going to be a lot of that going on, because the story just can't make it for the entirety of the number of episodes they've put in. So, it's a lot of action scenes, all there just to demonstrate just how amazing Michael Burnham is. Yes, Mary Sue Burnham. It's just great. And everybody else is either lackluster or her adoring fans, or are they really stupid morons. Even Captain Pike is really nothing compared to Michael Burnham. He really is. He seems to be a nice guy, and then he understands, wow, they told me you were smart. And then his science officer, well, he just can't stand it, and he, of course, represents the a-hole toxic masculinity. Boy, he doesn't shave with Gillette. So don't worry, he got smeared on a rock. So you could see it coming a mile away. And this sort of scene's been played out before, of course. But here, and again, the whole thing is ruined for me because of how they just devastated continuity in so many ways. But a lot of it is with the special effects of demonstrating all these incredible machinery and technology and whatnot. But it's so far in advance than anything that was demonstrated in the previous series. Of course, it's a matter of time and placement. But there again, Star Trek Discovery would have been much better off in a future point beyond the Star Trek shows for all of this, wondrous tech that they show off. And some of it is way too far. I mean, they've got helmets just appear out of nowhere, like Iron Man, and then material to collect giant asteroids in the shuttle bay and all this sort of thing. It's just a continuation of that, where it's way overblown. But they're just, because that's the only thing they got going for them, is the special effects are fantastic. It's a beautiful sight to behold. And that's about it. Now, I will admit I may have missed something here, but they have to. Pike takes over the ship. They're investigating these strange red spots that appear in space, and so he's got the coordinates for one. The Enterprise has been damaged, so he takes command of Discovery, and they go to the site, but they get there, and it's this exploding or deteriorating asteroid, what have you. There's fragments everywhere, and it's all a mess, and there's these strange gravitational forces here and there. It doesn't quite make sense, and they're having difficulty with it. And there's a Federation ship trapped in there that was left there during the battle with the Klingons. And so it's stuck there, and he's like, well, we got to do this rescue, and they're telling them how impossible it is, and then, damn it, we're going to do it. And then, oh, no, you don't. Yeah, don't worry, Michael Burnham set him straight. Oh, yeah, and he put his tail between his legs, and I'm sorry. But again, you know what this is, and you know that it's all there just to manipulate the seeds of reinforcing, Superwoman here. So they go into these impossible shuttles that aren't shuttles, but really Burnham is the best test pilot who's ever flown them. And but asshole won't listen. The science officer, who was supposed to be Spock, but Spock has taken a leave of absence, and so there's this guy, but he's just arrogant and right off the bat doesn't like Burnham. Well, that's just the way these toxic masculinity people are. And he knows better, and he knows how to fly this thing. And of course, he really doesn't. And he, like I said, gets smeared on a rock. And then, the debris damages Pike's shuttle, and he's in trouble, and his suit won't work. He can't eject, and all this stuff. And so they have to. Burnham has to save him, despite his demanding that she save herself. And but don't worry, Burnham and her groupie girls, they've got it, and they figure it out, and they are able to save him. And then Burnham, she abandons her ship, and they embrace in space, spinning around in dangerous fragments of asteroids. There is absolutely no way that Burnham and Pike could have survived that. And the way they show it, sure, it looks cool, they're spinning around and everything. Would not have worked. Now, keep in mind, well, why not use the transporter? Well, they said you can't because of all the interference and the variations of the gravitational forces, and it's just too difficult, blah, blah, blah. Well, they finally get to the ship, and it's a long-winded thing where they're searching it and everything, and then they meet the Tig Notaro character. She's an engineer on that ship, and I believe the engineer on the Discovery has already said he wants to leave, which is bad because he became, at first I couldn't stand him. I thought he was a forced stereotype and all this stuff, and was a bit over the top. And then actually through the series, he grew into a grounded character. So I don't know if they're writing him out of the show. I think that would be a mistake. And then he's there for the checklist, of course, with the gay couple. But it worked. They were a credible couple, I thought. I'm going to call it where it worked. I did not like the show, but this is one of the things they did. And then, the guy died, but he makes an appearance here in like a recording or what have you. So I don't know, some way or another, they'll probably get him back. It's a sci-fi show, which is practically magic, so who knows? And they could have a reunion, I thought, but perhaps not. Since Tig Notaro, I'm assuming, will be the new engineer going forward, which, oh man, I tell you, her performance is just like, it just speaks of, I don't really want to be here, but I need the money. She's just bored to death. They should have made her a Vulcan. Maybe that would have worked out a little, but she's just not into the show. It's just barely there. And oh my God, that was a terrible performance. Just awful. So there she is, and she's again another character. She's yet another Mary Sue, apparently, because she's this genius, and she managed to do these impossible things to keep her crew alive in the devastation of the destroyed ship. And then she's really impressed with Burnham. Well, Burnham didn't do what you did, but still, that's there. So it's two Mary Sues complimenting one another. And then, well, how do we get out? They're down to one shuttlecraft from the four of them that went over there. And so now what do you do? Oh, don't worry. Burnham can figure out how to use the transporter. Now, look. I mean, maybe I missed something, but I think they could have figured that out earlier. And because the fragments are still there, the gravitational variations are still there, but the signal's stronger now. And the Discovery had to put itself at risk to get closer, but they'd already set it up before. I don't know. But that's how they get out. And then, oh no, Burnham is the one left behind at the last minute. Explosions everywhere. And that's the end of Burnham now. It's a shocking turnabout, and now the show will be about Pike, I guess, and Tig Notaro. No, she survived. But she has a vision of the Red Angel, yes. And so there you go. There's something to that. That's your first clue to whatever the Red Angel is. And then Pike comes back and saves her. And so there you go. Everybody's happy. And she wants to see Spock, and then Pike tells her, well, he's on a leave of absence. Something changed him, and he's on. So now it's all search for Spock, this series. So they'll be looking for him. Now she goes to the Enterprise, so you get a look on the interior. How good a job did they do of replicating that? No, didn't even try. So, I mean, the story keeps holding up that because Bad Robot deals with this, that they have to have it 25% different. Boy, is it different. The sound effects were pretty much there, at least a little bit. And there's some elements of Spock's room that was somewhat reminiscent of the original, but just the little screen things that were there that they thought were cool in the 60s. That was there, but everything else, it just doesn't look anything like it. And of course the uniforms, briefly there, and then they're back into the blue jumpsuits, but the uniforms look nothing like what they're supposed to. And so it's kind of like, why even bother? Well, I know why, but still. So once again, continuity continues to be trashed. She's Spock's sister. There's some flashbacks to their childhood, and Spock was a little bit of a brat to her. Well, not a little bit, a lot apparently. They didn't get along at all. And then more demonstrations of this amazing technology that they just forgot about it when Kirk comes on. So, it fits in just great. But long, drawn-out stuff, a lot of flashy video game shows, a music video, whatever you want to call it, but not an actual show to get to the point of she's really sad. She had a bad relationship with Spock, and she feels bad, and she wants to find him and hopefully make amends, wants to reach out to him and all that. And I'm sure they'll seed that through the series, and that's all well and good. But one of the problems here, again, with continuity is this makes Spock deal with things that he has to deal with in the actual show. So it means he'll be covering old territory, especially when it comes to his father. And this Sarek bears no character resemblance to the Sarek you're going to see there. He's very cold towards Spock. They're very distant when they meet in the show and the original show. So why are they there? Why are they there like that? You know, no one's thinking that through, and that's pretty clear. So again, it's not just the look and the technology and all that. It's story details and character details that are established. And again, all of this could have been avoided if you just said it in its own time in the future. All the technology would be great. The uniform's fine, whatever. And as for Burnham herself, you could have explained her. Maybe she's really in the family adopted by the Spock family, and they're descended from that, and they're this well-known Vulcan. Something like that. I don't know, but all of that is rather unnecessary. And so putting it in a prequel time made no real sense at all. I don't know why they thought they had to do that, especially since they didn't want it to look anything like Star Trek. So that continues to dog and haunt the story. Plus, it's pretty lackluster. So 1.5 for Star Trek Discovery, brother. Another problem here was that I had just finished watching The Orville and had a good time with it. Oh man, was that spectacular and fun. Oh, and then this. The only thing it's got going for it, of course, Star Trek Discovery has far superior special effects than the Orville has, but doesn't matter. All icing, no cake. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're here, why not like and subscribe? And check out the links below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you.